Hey y'all, what's going on? We're checking out my hinderers in their final stages here today, real quick. And I know some of y'all are probably gonna be like, really? This dude's doing a hinderer video again. You know, doesn't he have anything else to talk about? And the answer is kind of yes, kind of no. Anyways, this is what we're doing today. So this is Michael, aka Doggone John. Welcome back to the channel here. We're doing a quick update on my hinderers that I have here. I did some things to them I wanted to show you guys. So I'm gonna have a quick sip of tea. It's hotter than blazes out here. I know I just showed you all the mountains a little bit ago. So there's the spot where they were full of snow, not even 3 or 4 days ago. But anyways, back to this. We are doing a show off of my dye job that I did on these scales. So as most of you may be new, both of these were bluish greenish. And this afternoon I got a hold of some RIT dye, RIT dye, and decided to do a dye job on these ones here. So this is how they turned out. This is a graphite dye that I used. And I actually went a little bit heavy on it to try to get the XM18 to kind of darken up more. And in turn, it kind of made my Jurassic basically black. So that's fine though. You know, I think it still turned out pretty cool. So now we got a black and a titanium Jurassic. I think it looks pretty sweet. You know, you can really see the texture in there now. And the overall aesthetic is just pretty nice to me, so yeah. The XM18 did not take it near as good. So this was a pretty thick green, you know, and it took quite a bit of dyeing to get this one even to get to look like this, and I still think it turned out pretty good though. Overall, it's kind of like a lighter graphite color, you know. Still has maybe a tinge of green in there, you know, but for the most part it's pretty well gray or black, whatever. So yeah, anyways, I'm enjoying the aesthetic of these two quite a bit now. I think that they're kind of where I want them for the time being. I can't say this is my end game on them, my end game build, but it is something that I'm pretty much coming to a close on for a little while at least. You know, I eventually want to get some titanium scales for both of these, maybe just one of them, depending. But we'll just see. For the time being, though, I think this black and plain titanium look, or graphite gray, whatever, looks pretty damn good to me, at least. I like it. So, the other thing is we got some stuff fixed with the Jurassic. When I first got it, it was having a few issues, right? So one thing was the lockup. It was one where you could spine thwack it and it would break, right? It would break out and the lock would fail and it would fly the blade forward. Now I fixed that, and I haven't seen anybody ever document this on YouTube, at least, as to fixing hinderers lockup. Right on their website, I'm pretty sure that they say they will not warranty lockup issues. They've been through the ringer with that stuff, and so they won't even do that. However, I wanted to show how I did it, or at least tell you, because it's already done. But what I did, I'll show you on this one. So on the XM18, you can see the lock bar insert there, right? And you can see the one on the Jurassic. So on the XM18, you can kind of see there that the lock bar insert is more squared off right against the tang instead of kind of in line with it, if that makes sense. And then with the Jurassic, I fixed it, and now it kind of like matches the tang, if that makes sense, right? So what I did to get this is I took my Leatherman tool with the diamond file, and you can use any diamond file. I removed the lock bar insert, real easy. You just take that screw out there, and I just, at a certain pitch and angle, I just grinded away some material on the lock bar insert. And then what I ended up doing after that was I actually kind of screwed the lock up, you know, for a little bit there until I figured it out. But What I needed to do was, it basically was rattling. The blade wasn't locked up right. And that's because of the tension from the lock bar itself, right? So then what I did after that was I disassembled the Jurassic, and I put it, I took apart just this side of the scale here. I took the lock side scale, and then just ever so slightly, I just kept bending it in and bending it in. And I would kind of test it and that kind of thing. And then basically what ended up happening as an end result is that the bar had so much tension in now that the lockup is solid now. I mean, there's no issues. And the detent is really strong on this one now. It's breaking in over time, but when I first did this, man, it was really difficult. You couldn't really thumb flick it. I still can't really reverse flick it, I don't think. There, I got it, but it's pretty hard. So the detent is pretty strong on that, but it's not a huge deal. I think a lot of people like a strong detent anyways, but I fixed the issue basically. So if you need to mess with your hinderer for lockup issues, that's how I did it. For the XM18s, you actually can get a insert. I found a place on eBay. There's a guy that sells them. So if you actually screwed it up too much, you know, if you have this problem on an XM18 and you try to do that method and you screw it up, you can go on eBay and get yourself a new one and restart. So there's that option. With the Jurassic though, however, I could not find anywhere that sold these inserts. They're kind of special for these. So I was happy to be able to remedy it. You know, at first I kind of thought I screwed the lockup up, but I was lucky enough that I could just bend that detent bar in, or not the detent bar, the lock bar in, and fix that up. So yeah, anyways, these are two sweeties, man. I really like these hinderers. I've been carrying the Jurassic a lot lately, in between my Chris Reeves, and it's just been a pleasure. Really enjoy these. The grind is so much better on this Jurassic. This is the slicer grind. It's not the hollow slicer. It's kind of like a flat ground slicer. And it's pretty good. I mean, for work tasks, I can't complain at all. I think it's perfect for a lot of that stuff. The ergonomics on this one is just fantastic. Really, really like how the Jurassic feels in your hand. So I was really happy to finally get this one tuned out the way I like it. You know, I got my scale all figured out. I removed the anodization, fixed the lockup. You know, it's kind of a lot of work for how expensive these knives are and stuff, but, you know, and should I have to do all that? No, I shouldn't. You know, that's just kind of ridiculous, honestly. I mean, most of this is aesthetic. The lockup is the main thing, but I fixed it on the Jurassic. The XM18 has always been good. I've never had an issue with this one. You know, it passes the test. So, but anyways, I just wanted to show you guys what you can do to your knives when you're not satisfied with the look of them. You know, you can always customize stuff and make it look good and change it how you want it. I actually really wanted to go brown on these. I was going to go like a dark brown. I thought the dye would have taken better anyways, especially on the XM18 because it was that green color, but it's not a huge deal. You know, they didn't have brown at the Walmart where I was at, so all I ended up doing was just getting the graphite gray, and this is how it turned out. So anyways, moral of the story is that for about $11 to $12, you can get the Winx rust stain remover and the RIT dye, and you can pretty much transform your knife into whatever you want, which is pretty cool, you know, as long as it has the G10 and stuff for the show side. You know, if it was all titanium and you didn't like the anodization that was done on there, you could just do the Winx and remove that, and you'd have a plain Jane, you know, knife, whatever that is. So pretty neat. This is pretty much the end of my modding, I think, for this one. You know, I might want to get a couple of filler tabs for this one and this one, or maybe just one, I don't know. I love the clips on hinderers. I think they're great. I really like this big spoon on the end of it here. It just rides right over your pants seam in your pocket really easily. And I don't have a problem like thinking I'm going to lose it or any of that. I think it's pretty solid. So yeah, anyways, I guess that's going to more or less do it. You know, there's a couple things I might do. I might get a regrind on the XM18 because the Espanto grind on here is pretty atrocious, you know. I mean, it's a beefy knife, but it really doesn't slice very well at all. So that's kind of its weak point. And on the Jurassic, I think it's pretty dang good on its own, you know. Like I said, one day I might want to get a titanium scale for each one of these, or one of them, maybe, whichever. But I'm pretty satisfied with it overall for now. You know, it's going to be a great workable knife, or working knife, I should say, for any of my tasks, I think, for the most part. So that's going to wrap it up. All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe if you'd like this video, you know. Let me know down below what you thought about this deal, and we'll see you in the next one, all right? Michael out.